Hello, children. Welcome to one more session. Today, I would start my session with a different question. My question is: have you ever listened or heard any historical stories which may not have happened, or maybe, probably it might have happened? Are you interested in historical stories, mythological stories? If yes, then today, even if you have not heard also, don't worry, because today there is a beautiful topic lined up for you in this session. Okay, before I start, before I move further, let me ask you one more question. How many of you are good Samaritans? Now, when I say good Samaritan, it means how many of you are of helping nature? How many of you help? How many of you go away beyond to help people? I know most of you. You know, as we sow, so we reap. Do good, get good. Yes? Now, if we do something wrong, then we face, in the later part of a years, we face serious consequences. Am I right? I hope you all agree with my point. So, today, this poem which we are going to learn, A Legend of the Northland by Phoebe Carey. In this poem, what are we going to see is, before that, it's a legend. Now, what is a legend? Or you can say this poem is a ballad, a narrative poem. It's a narrative poem. And even you can, this poem can also be sung because of its rhyming words or rhyming scheme, rhyming patterns. Now, in this poem, the poet is trying to tell us that how a woman, selfish, greedy, reluctant, reluctant to feed a priest who was very hungry. She was not so kind-hearted to feed a poor man, a hungry man. So, what happened actually later on is the story all about. Before I start, the story is something like this. Let me read out the poem for you. The Legend of Northland. Away in the Northland, where the hours of day are few and the nights are long in winter, that they cannot sleep them through. Away in the Northland. Northland is a place where you have winters. When do we have long winters and long nights and shorter days? In the winter season, right? Am I right? So he says, away in the Northland, when the hours of the day are few, when the short and the nights are long, and it was very difficult for the people living in Northland to sleep because of that winter night, cold night. Where they harness the swift reindeer, harness here to the bells of the swift reindeer. Reindeer is a animal which you can find mainly in the snow areas in the Northland. So to the sledges when it snows. And the children look like bear cubs in their funny furry clothes. Now, children over there are covered, they cover their bodies with the fur coats. They look like bear cubs. And how do they look? Funny, furry, funny, furry. A poetic device used in this line, funny, furry, alliteration, where F and F has the same consonant sound. Now, here children are compared to bear's cub. Children are compared to bear's cub. One more poetic device is used here, and that is simile. When there is a direct comparison of a person with another other object or a thing or an animal, then person or anything, it's a simile. These are the poetic devices. In the third line, you can see children look like bear cubs. Here, the poet has used a simile comparing the last line to their funny, furry clothes, funny, furry, FF sound alliterations, two poetic devices used in one single stanza. They tell them a curious, a strange story. I don't believe this time. He doesn't believe. He says that such stories don't really exist. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. He says that though you don't believe that such stories do really exist, even then, with this, you will learn a lesson. It is not needed that you have to, every lesson should be, everything which you speak is a fact. From fictional also we can try to learn. From fantasies also there will be always a lesson. Now he starts. Once when the good Saint Peter, Saint Peter, a priest, lived in the world below and walked about it preaching just as he did. Now these priests, they preach something good to the people, they preach everything what is. Now he was preaching. He come to the door of a cottage is small, and traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Hearth, a small fireplace which is made of mud. Now he was tired, so he came there he wanted to have some food. And looking them on the hearth and faint with being faint with the fasting for the day almost, then he asked her, what did he ask? He asked if he could have a bite, if he could have something to eat. Where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth, he thought that for a store of cakes, he said that there are many cakes with you as I'm feeling very hungry. Can you help me with them? To give him a single one. Do you see there? To give him a single one. There is no there is no grammar, or you can say there is no, the poet has the entire liberty to put his words in a different way, because the poems have the right, the poetry has the right to use his words in any way, to rhyme for his rhyming words, so to grab the attention of the people. They have a device called as poetic licenses given to the poets to use the words in whichever way they want it, but the meaning has to be conveyed. So what he says, she made very little cake. So what did she do? Why should I make a very big one? So she started making small cakes. But as it baking lay, when she started baking it, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. She made a small cake, and when she saw it baking, she thought, why should I give such a big cake to him? Not needed. It is too big for him. Therefore, she needed another. She again started cooking a dough. And still a smaller one. She made a smaller one. But it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. Then she tried to compare the second one with the first cake, and she thought that this is bigger, much more bigger than the first one. So she dropped the idea of feeding the man with the second cake. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough, the left out dough, okay, and rolled it flat, and rolled it flat, rolled and rolled, repetition of the word, rolled it flat, and baked it thin as a wafer, thin as wafer, comparing the cake with a wafer. It is also a simile. But she couldn't part with that. She couldn't part with that. She did not like to give him. She did not like to give him. For she said, my cake that seems too small, when I eat of them myself, are yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. She was so miser. She was so miser. She was not rich from heart. She was not ready to give food to anyone. She was not of helping nature. She thought that why should I give? Why should I do give to that person? Let me store it in my shelf. And she started storing it in her shelf. Then good Saint Peter grew angry. It's obvious. When you're hungry and you don't get the food in time, or when you see there is a food in front of you, but people are not ready to feed you, obviously you get angry. Yes, you lose your patience, you lose your temper. For he was hungry and faint. As I told you, he was very hungry, he was fainting, and because he did not have food for a longer time. And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Now, that kind of, now it's enough for the saint to get angry because of the deeds, because of the work, because of the thought, the way that woman was doing or acting. And he said, who? Saint Peter, you are far too selfish. Oh, you are a selfish lady. To dwell in a human form. Dwell means to be in a human form. Human beings should not be selfish. Human beings should have a heart, a kind heart. And being a woman, you are so selfish, so you are unfit to be a human. To have both food and shelter. He said, you are unfit to be a human being, you are unfit to have food, you are unfit to have a shelter, and fire to keep you warm. Why did the saint say, why did the poet use the word and fire to keep you warm? Because that place is a northland filled with snow, very cold. He says, who? Saint Peter, you are such a woman, a selfish lady, and you are unfit to be a human being. You are unfit to unfit to have food. You are unfit to have shelter, and even you should not have anything which gives you comfort. Now you shall build as the birds do. He cursed her. He cursed her. He said, now you will be like a bird as the birds do. You shall build as the birds do. You have to build your own nest and shall go your scanty food. And birds don't have enough food. They eat little. So he says scanty, less. By boring and boring and boring all day in the hand, dry wood. He says the entire day you will have no one to speak to you. You will be all alone. The entire day you will have a boring day. Boring and boring and boring. The word is repeated. Repetition. You will be all alone in that hard, dry wood. Dry wood refers to forest. As soon as he cursed that selfish lady, she turned into a woodpecker and she flew away. Then up she went through the chimney. As she has become a bird, she could fly away in the chimney, ventilator small, never speaking a word. Now, why can't she speak a word? Because she has become a bird. Birds don't speak. And out of top flew a woodpecker on the top, as I mentioned. Lady has become a woodpecker because of the curse given by Saint Peter. For she was changed for a bird. Now, who changed for a bird? Who has changed? The woman, a selfish woman. And how did she become? A curse by whom? Saint Peter. And what was the reason? She did not feed him when he was hungry. Now, what is her? She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same. She had a cap on her head, and only that was there with her. But all the rest of her clothes were burned black as coal in the flame, whatever the dress. Now, the entire dress, now the birds don't wear clothes, right? So, the same way, this woman, all the clothes which she was wearing was burned and all turned into coal. And here also there is a comparison. Clothes were burned black as coal in the flame. Again, a poetic device, simile, comparison. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood where she lives in the tree till this very day, boring and boring for food. Now she see. And every country schoolboy, country refers to every village schoolboy, sees her in the wood. Here, wood refers to forest on the branches of the tree, where she lives in the tree till this day, till this very day. boring and boring for food, waiting and waiting for the same food, or boring and boring the same kind of food she's eating. Now you may feel that what is this story? Is it really happens? Is it that the curse of the people, a curse of the great priests and saints do happen? Maybe it may not happen. It is not, it doesn't happen. But what is the lesson we get from this story or from this ballad, from this story, narrative poem? We should help others. If you have enough for you, try to share it with others, those who don't have. The more you share, the more you get, right? This is what the lesson the poet Phoebe is trying to convey in this poem, The Legend of Northland. You see here, the Northland is an area near North Pole where the days are short because the sun rays reach for very little time. Here, during the winter, the duration of night is longer and days are shorter, as I have explained to you. The word they refers to the people who live in that region, and the poet says that the duration of night is long and people can't sleep them. The poet wants to emphasize that the nights are very long and also very cold. Now, a few things are question which can be like asked is why are the people unable to sleep through the night? Why? The people are unable to sleep whole night. Why do they sleep? Why are they unable to sleep whole night? Why? The people are unable to sleep whole night because the night is very, what happened to the night? The night is very long, right? Now, what is the poet trying to tell in this story or in this poem? He's telling that we should never be so selfish. We should be helpful to each other, right? And what are the few things which we can understand from this poem? What are the few things? What is the moral actually from this story? What is the moral of this story? Or what is the moral of this poem? What moral, what lesson you